Got a question for you today. Is God pro-abortion? Even asking that question makes my skin want to crawl. But I just saw on social media today, a young lady claimed that God is pro-abortion and she used the Bible to prove her case. If this seems foreign to you, stick around for a couple minutes. Let's talk about it. Is God pro-abortion? Okay, let me answer the question right off. First off, no, he's not. God is the giver of life. He's not the taker of life. But I want to share this verse of scripture. Actually, it's a passage out of Numbers chapter 5 that this girl used to prove that God is pro-abortion. Numbers chapter 5, starting in verse 19, it says this, and this is important. It's in the New International Version. It says, then the priest shall put the woman under oath and say to her, if no other man has had sexual relations with you and you have not gone astray and become impure while married to your husband, may this bitter water that brings a curse not harm you. Verse 20, but if you've gone astray while married to your husband and you have made yourself impure by having sexual relations with a man other than your husband, verse 21, then the priest is to put a woman under this curse. This is the curse, quote, may the Lord cause you to become a curse among your people when he makes your womb miscarry and your abdomen swell. Verse 22, last verse. May this water that brings a curse enter your body so that your abdomen swells or your womb miscarries. Now, first of all, I'm reading out of the New International Version. This is the version she read out of. This is huge because why? Number one, the New International Version is one of the only versions that I can find that even refers to miscarriage. I'm a word nerd, and that's not to be a disrespect to the word or a disrespect to nerds, but I'm a word nerd. I like to study the word, and I just now have opened up nearly 24 translations. Not one of them refers to miscarriage. Almost every Bible scholar agrees that this is talking about, quote, womb shriveling. It's not talking about a miscarriage. It's talking about a curse of barrenness. You see, if this woman was guilty, God would judge her and make her to be barren and not be able to have kids moving forward. And if she was if she wasn't unfaithful to her husband, if she was innocent of the charges, then she would be able to have children moving forward, okay? Number two, let's say the NIV was right. This is not about a woman's right to choose. This passage is about God's right to judge. You see, God is the judge. He can judge sin anytime and any way that he chooses to judge sin. So this has absolutely nothing to do with her right to end any kind of a pregnancy. This would be referring to God's right to judge the sin that was in her life or not in her life. God can judge sin anytime he wants to judge sin, which brings me to point number 3. We live in an age of grace. We live in a new covenant reality because of what Jesus did at the cross for us. We don't live in an Old Testament time frame. So this verse of scripture doesn't even apply to us in the first place. What does apply to us is that all of the wrath of God for every sin that you've ever committed and ever will commit was taken out on Jesus at Calvary. Jesus satisfied, his sacrifice of himself satisfied God's anger against you. You are forgiven, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is receive that forgiveness afresh and roll on, move on in life in right standing with him. That's what the gospel, that's what the good news is all about. God is not pro-abortion, but this is another one of those areas where the enemy is trying to bring confusion into the church and bring gray areas in so that we don't know which end is up. Let's stick to the word so that we do know which end is up. Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. And if you would, please click on this next video because I get into some things that are really going to help you as a believer to understand maybe some things the different way that you've ever thought of before. Jesus is Lord and you are complete in him.